recording. Turn off the image, turn that on. So many buttons to click. Alright. Boom. Alright, almost there. There we go. Now I've got and now we're good. Okay, should be.
Hi! Look at that face! It's been a while.
It has been a while. It's been 10 years. 12
Yeah,
years.
it's funny because, like, podcasts, they always say that. It's been a while. You're like, and everyone who's watching is like, shut up.
Yeah. I was watching earlier because I don't listen to too many podcasts anymore. Mostly because all the podcasts that get suggested to me are just like actors doing something else during COVID, and it kind of like the ones that I do. I listen to a lot of the Gus and Eddie podcasts, which they unfortunately stopped doing for reasons. But a lot of the ones I just keep seeing just don't spark my interest. But the ones I do find, I like the smaller creators, just because they have like this like smaller inside joke, and I also feel like they try a lot harder because they can't just survive on. They can't just be like, oh, so what do you do? I'm Zach Braff. That's what I do. So
yeah.
Even though his is pretty good. So how have you been? How's I know COVID's kind of put a lot of people in entertainment into a different position.
Yeah, I mean, still, at least here in Canada, right now we're in lockdown again.
Yeah, we're supposed to be in the U.S. too.
So yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to everything, right? So there's good things that came out of it. There's hardships that came out of it. There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of good. It's like a period of time.
Yeah, and I know that you guys started streaming your live shows instead of stopping them altogether, and I see that's worked out pretty well for you guys.
I mean, it's not my favorite, personally, because to me, like, performance is my favorite thing ever, and so that's being in a room with people. Like, physically, I know that you are when you're online as well, and I love that. I'm not a hater of internet connections in any way. I miss traveling and, like, meeting people and doing that. Like, that's the joy of my life, so it's hard to not have it exist anymore.
It's a different kind of personal, as opposed to physically being there. And,
yeah, because when I'm performing, like, it's not like I can be typing back and stuff, you know, rather than in the crowd where I'm, like, interacting and, like, getting in there and stuff.
Like, even when I or other people Twitch stream, you can read the chat and, you know, pause a game or pause a video and talk. It's different. You're not going to stop in the middle of the song and be like, Lurking Andy number 33 has said.
Yeah,
little
exactly.
Bit. But I mean, it is still cool that you guys did that, because one thing that I think became very evident is just how much the world changed when COVID started. Whether that be through the stuff with Amazon, being, you know, having your groceries, everything delivered, to just in general. I think we saw a lot of people in entertainment, especially those who weren't smaller and didn't have to utilize the internet on their own, just kind of like not sure what to do, making like YouTube channels that were up for 2 weeks or weird TikToks. Stuff like that. So,
I mean, I'm here for innovation.
Right.
I'm not here for stuff shutting down. That's brutal. But I'm here for the innovation part of it.
And some of it's, I mean, I know you guys did very well last year. I read one of the interviews. I read a bunch of interviews you did. I wasn't aware of just how big of a deal a lot of your music was in Canada until I started reading this, and I'm like, there's a lot of interviews here.
Canada, we're our own little place here.
It's, I mean, I don't even want to say Canada. I want to say outside of my bedroom. The whole world seems very different. Like I said, I moved here, and then I'm like, I'm going to start over. I'm going to make a bunch of friends. And the whole world was like, no, you're not. So it's just been like, my dog's laying over here, and he's just hanging out. So.
Oh, what kind of dog?
He's a pit bull.
Oh.
He's a very nice pit bull. If things go well, he won't start crying during this. Whether I'm in class, any stream, any interview, he'll just start crying. Second I'm done, he'll just like, all right, I'm done, and he'll walk away. He's like, my job here is done. Yeah.
I get it. We've all been there.
Yeah. I mean, if I can't blame him for begging for attention. It's literally what I do on the internet. It's just.
There you go. He learns from the best.
Yeah, he does. I'd let him stream if he wanted to, if he'd chip in for internet. He can feel free to use all the upload speed he wants. So I want to start kind of at the beginning. At least we'll start at the beginning of when the band started, and then we'll kind of trace back some roots stuff there. But did you all meet at Humber? Is it pronounced Humber?
At Humber, yeah. Well, not technically. So Jordan, who's the drummer in the band, was my like high school sweetheart. Like, so we were dating when we were in high school, and then we broke up actually. But I ended up auditioning for this college for music that he pushed me to audition to because he did as well. I got in, and so I was like, great. And then at that point, like me and Jordan weren't really like talking as friends, you know, like not a bad breakup, but like you just try to have time apart. And it took years kind of for us to come back together and be friends. And then I met other people. I met, there's other people that used to be in the band. So like my friend Soren kind of started the band in a way, like brought us together for a project. And I think there was a song, like we covered Weezer or something, and they asked me to sing. So they made the band. And then at that rehearsal, Jordan was there playing drums, and Soren is a bass player who was putting it together. And then they invited Zach on guitar, who I'd never seen this man in my life. Like, I was already in school 3 years, and I'm like, who are you? Like, he's a bit of a wallflower, like, really, like, quiet, shy, like, gets the fuck out of there kind of guy in school. So I didn't even know who he was, and then he started playing, and I'm like, oh, God, like, I love this.
What does he play?
Guitar, like, he plays guitar.
Yeah.
I just knew instantly that I'm like, this guy has the sounds that I love to hear. And we like connected, and we played this thing with this band, this formation. I invited my friend Holly, who played keys with us at the time because she was my best friend. And one day I got, like, we went to a bar, Zach and I, and we both were drunk. It's like the only time we've ever gotten drunk together because we don't really like drink much. And we were both, like, kind of drunk, and we were like, you know, you're great, I want to be in a band with you, and you're like, I want to be in a band with you, like, one of those conversations, and then it kind of happened. Jordan didn't even want to be in the band. He was like, I have other bands, I don't want to be here, this will be my last priority, and now it's his only band, so, I don't know what to say about that.
I mean, it worked out.
This is his band. Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah. He had a diverse portfolio to pull from.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that when I first started to reach out to you, I've had spinning out on my watch later list for like a year now because I really liked Skins and I saw she was in it. I thought Effie was an awesome character. And then doing some research, and your band's in episode 5, and I wasn't sure yet. I was like, before I asked this, like, so I did some research and it was filmed in Canada. So how did that come about?
That came about through a director who was a fan of the band, and I guess when he knew that there was going to be a part where they needed a band for the situation, he reached out to I don't remember if he emailed us or reached out to our publisher or something, but he got in touch with us and was like, I really want you guys to be in the show. You can have your own music. You're gonna be you guys essentially, but in the show. Are you interested? And we were like, whoa, like,
that's
sick,
awesome.
yeah. And so it was really easy, smooth, like, got there, everything so, like, you know, with anything with film, it's, like, really on time and prepared. So we got there, and it took, like, half a day to film that. But what's interesting about it is the way that you film TV is, like, the dialogue is important. Like, you have to hear the actors, right? So technically in that scene, even though I'm singing, I'm like lip singing and I have in-ears in, and I'm fake singing to a crowd who's fake dancing to our songs, and they can't even hear it, only I can. And then they're getting the audio from the actors, and then they add the music back in after, right? That was interesting.
Yeah, that's gonna be like, I think of the Hilary Duff movie. The Lizzie McGuire movie.
Yeah, and then we're just like, all right, I'm just gonna have fun with this, but that's how they film. But I'm stoked that they used 4 of our songs in that episode, and then also at the end they used it in the credits, and that was amazing. Like, we got so many people reaching out to us and after that episode that love the song.
And that was episode 5, by the way, for anyone who sees this. And then
Yeah.
I suggest watching the whole show because, like Degrassi, it goes there. I really liked it. And actually, it's one of those shows that makes me like, I want to, like, I feel like it kind of sells me on figure skating almost.
Yeah, it's freaking sick.
I'll never do that. I'll never figure skate. I live in Florida. I don't even think there's ice here. I don't know.
I feel like there's ice rinks. I've been. Oh, there's a lot of. Remember Palace? The Palace roller skating.
There was a lot of rollers. They had to shut that down. For some reason, I don't know if this is like a thing that happens everywhere, but like the most dangerous places to be were roller rinks in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, because you'd go there and there'd always be like police, and then they shut down Atlantis and the Palace and stuff. So that was always.
It's unfortunate because it was fun.
What was that? Skate Zone? Skate Zone? Skate Zone. I don't even remember the name of that. Yeah, they'd have.
I remember there was a place. I was just gonna say. I remember there was a place we would like travel. It wasn't even close, and it was a skating rink, and there was like shows there, and like that was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was probably my first exposure to. It was probably the closest I ever got to being invited to a high school party. It's like almost there. It's like, oh, there's all the people here who go to the high school parties, and I'm like in proximity. Because one thing I brought up is instead of going to high school parties, like I'd hang out and do girls' night, watch Degrassi. I'd hang out with a friend in the neighborhood, Matt, and do that. That was the summer. I think it was 2009, so that was almost 13 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of those.
That's people, a firefighter now. I think,
yeah, he's got everybody on Facebook is pregnant or has a kid. I don't know what it is. It's everybody.
It's true. I'm here for it though. I'm hell
here
yeah.
For it too. But like it just goes to show a lot of people had a much better time self-quarantining and all of that during COVID than I did. Yeah, buddy, you can get out of school.
Yeah,
my dog's like, I'm tired of hearing about you complain about not having kids. I'm out of here. He wants to feel seen.
Yeah. I mean, he is your kid. Yeah. Come on. Well, you have a kid.
Well, he's technically my brother's dog, but I hang out with him all the time. So it's like being a parent. So anytime someone's talking about parenting, like I totally get it and I interject. I saw you guys.
And then they're like, shut up. They're like, you're not a parent.
Like, who is this guy? No, we don't want to go to your website. Shut up. Right. I should just write an entire blog about my dog, a dog blog, and just delete everything.
I like it. I have a friend whose their dog is Instagram famous, and like they're way more famous than I'll ever be. And I'm like, you go, dog. That's dope.
That dog probably has no idea too. Just no clue.
It just has a good time.
There's a YouTube video I saw recently, and this guy, he does this really cool digital art that's popular on YouTube right now, and I can't remember his name. And he does a bit where it's dogs that don't realize, like Air Bud and Beethoven, they don't realize that like the movies are fake. So Air Bud really thinks he's a real athlete, and Beethoven like really thinks he just saved lives. And they're like giving these like accolades to these dogs, and this dog's having this like big epiphany that like, oh my god, everything was a lie. And I just loved it so much. He's like having this breakdown that like I'm not actually a hero.
I love it. I always love when like I don't love when animals are in movies, but when I see it, I'm always like, or babies. I'm like, they don't know what's happening right now. Like, what do they think is happening?
Yeah,
you know.
And that's I mean the family YouTuber thing is a big put off. But I mean, I'll watch Baby Geniuses just because I'm just like, look at these babies, they're geniuses. I mean, I like watching smart babies. I have a 5-year-old nephew who I hang out with more than any adult at this point.
Yeah.
And he's super into Pokemon and stuff, and we'll watch Baby Genius together, and that's not even a real baby. And I'm just like, this baby, I don't know what it is. Like, as terrifying as bears walking on their hind legs are, babies talking with like IQs above 190 is just adorable to me. Like, if you're a high IQ baby,
it's
like,
great.
Give me a baby with an eidetic memory, I'm happy.
It's hilarious.
And I saw you guys were one of the most, if not the most, played band in Canada, unsigned band in Canada. I think it was in 2019. So I have here Canadian Alternative Rock Radio propelled the single to number 2 on Mediabase Canada Alternative Rock Chart, making MONOWHALES the only independent band in Canadian radio history to reach that high on the chart. And that was your single, Really Want to Let You Down. That's pretty cool to read. That's got to be even more cool to experience. So were you guys surprised by that?
Oh, hell yeah. Like, how could you expect that? You can't. You know, it happens, and it's just like a rush. You don't know where it's going to go, what is going to happen. And I'm just grateful for every moment. And I'm grateful because, like, it's what makes me prouder, honestly, like, it's dope to be number 2, but the part of it that I'm so proud of is that we're unsigned, unmanaged. That's, like, we did it ourselves.
That is awesome,
like, and,
yeah.
You know, and with our people that are our team that are awesome, I don't want to discount them, but, like, that to me is the proudest moment. Be able to show other people you can do it. You can do it, too, on your own.
And that's the beauty of the internet, and you're seeing it more and more through music. I mean, I think Twitch is fantastic for that. I mean, the biggest Twitch streamer doesn't even play video games. Hassan Piker, who just like hangs out, and he's become this huge political figure. You have, I know, Billie Eilish kind of took off doing her own thing. Obviously, once you get to a certain point, you're going to need like management and suits and lawyers just to make sure nothing bad happens. But it's awesome when people can just kind of like do it their way. Because the indie scene's been around for a long time, but for the longest time, it's been extremely difficult to get your music heard. Whether it's, I mean, Bandcamp's been big. I saw a friend of ours, Mitch, had something written about him in Pitchfork. So it's really cool to see people who like, I mean, we all grew up liking music, but I feel like you and Mitch liked it the most. So it's really cool to see you guys like run with it. And that's another thing I want to touch on is your influences growing up musically. If I remember right, big Teddy Geiger fan, big Jack White fan. Yeah.
I actually think that's so funny. Yesterday I pulled out, like, I was cleaning up and I found all my signed Teddy Geiger posters. I'm still a huge Teddy Geiger fan, and I don't know if you know this, they go by Teresa Geiger now, so they're transitioning.
Really? Okay.
And yeah, and their music is still incredible and relevant, and I've kind of grew with them, and I'm a huge fan. We've definitely like shared cute eyes on Instagram before on messages, and I die inside. Still like love them.
I don't know how you. I mean, if you grow up listening to somebody and you're like, they like interact with you, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, because I did when I was younger, but it was awful. Like, I was just like an awful, like, you know, I was a fan, and it was probably, I have a photo with them where I'm like crying my eyes out, standing next to them. It's so ugly. It's so bad. I can only imagine. I've sent them so many letters. All I know is like, I would never want them to see this because, don't know that that's who I was, and I'm like, I hope they never know. Like, because I'm not that anymore. I don't want to be associated with whoever that was, and we just start fresh, you know? I'd rather we just be like musician. We're both musicians here, all good.
I mean, that's my entire, I want to say teenage life is all these like, I just don't want to see that, but it like goes up until like probably like last week maybe it stopped. It'll start again like this afternoon. But yeah, no, I that's still awesome though that you get to. Now, when it comes to like influences you listen to growing up, are there any of them that you're still listening to today that you have a big influence on your music, or is there anything new you found locally?
I think like every single piece of music I listen to influences me in one way, whether I like it or not. Like, I'm still a huge Jack White fan. I think anything I listen to, I'm still a huge fan. Like, all this vinyl is mostly like the stuff I loved, and like new stuff that I love. But I'm just like a huge music fan. Like, I'm here for anything, for any genre, I just love it. Like, that's just the thing. I just want to hear everything. I want to learn from it. I feel inspired. Even if I don't like something, it's still inspiring, because then I'm like, what don't I like about it? And then it helps me navigate making music. That's
a good point.
Yeah. And not that it's not valid. If I don't like it, it doesn't mean it's not a music or a great piece of music even.
It's music. I mean, just art in general is incredibly subjective by nature. So, I mean, I the stuff that I do on the side, I'll find something I don't like, and I'll be like, why don't I like this? How do I avoid making something like this? So, I do notice the big
Well,
record collection behind you too, which is pretty cool.
flex. But if I have to say, like, what's influenced me now for the music I'm writing or that I just wrote, I listened to a lot of Nine Inch Nails in the last year and a half, like during this COVID period. So that definitely, like that industrial sound, I've been a lot more interested in getting into my music, and I think you'll see that like with the next things that I put out. But everything, like I love Billie Eilish, but I love Ariana Grande, James Blake, who else? Grimes. I could get into it. I love new music. I love old stuff that I listen to, and I think it's important. Just as I said about innovating technology, it's like innovate with music and learning about that innovation in music and where it's going, and the genre-less factor is amazing. I've always wanted that, so I'm glad that's where like music is going.
And there's always new genres that are just other combination of genres, and I think
Yeah.
something that you see like for decades now is pulling from older genres of music and modernizing it. Um, Especially like I've listened to Billie Eilish, and she'll have samples in her music from things that usually I wouldn't. One of her songs, one of her more popular songs, it has a sample from the Wizards of Waverly Place theme song, and stuff like that is just so cool to me. Because a lot of the stuff I listen to is stuff like that just may not sound very good in general, but I really enjoy. Like I guess not very good, but it's something that's not very catchy in general.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of like sounds and things that are combinations. So it's really cool to see it pulled through that, and just making new genres and innovating because things get stale really fast. Especially now with everything, things are just constantly moving. You're not just fed music anymore. Like 20 years ago, you can just go out and seek it. So, and I suggest people seek out your music as well. You have a ton of stuff that I found on Bandcamp and YouTube. And
Yeah, we're on all the stuff. You can get us on Spotify and all
and
that.
your website sells your music too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we just got more vinyl in. I'm excited.
Oh, you guys sell vinyl?
Yeah, our first limited edition sold out, and so we finally got more because it takes like 7 months to make vinyl. It's so backed up right now.
We got it rated at monowhales.com. Daytona Bleach? Is that the one?
Bleach, yeah, that's the newest one. Daytona Bleach, there you go. You know about Daytona.
I do know about Daytona, and
Actually,
I like that
I'd love
name.
to talk to you about this because most people don't get it. Like every interview I get on, they're like, "What does Daytona Bleach mean?" And I kind of have to explain what Florida is really like. Like you have this image of like it's so perfect and
There's
paradise,
vacation
and it's
Florida
like
and real Florida.
and like all the buildings are pink and pretty and all these things. And then I'm like, but have you been to the beach? Like, have you looked at the ground in the beach and how like fucked up it is in Florida in general? Not that I don't love it, but like just like the reality of what Florida is versus the pretty
The facade.
portrait that we see of it. Yeah, and so that to me represented this album and like the duality of those two things of like being really clean looking pop but having this like dirt underneath it as the true authentic piece of a place. That's what Daytona Bleach kind of means, along with like other stupid artist shit.
Well,
Talk about.
one of the things that caught me like it made me think of is I spent 10 years not living here. I didn't live near a beach, but over where we grew up there's a beach, and I don't say exactly where that was because sometimes I write things that people call me an SJW for and then yell at me, so I don't want to know exactly where I'm at. But I came back down here, and the beach is like gone. Like there used to be like a good like 20 meters of like sand, and now it's like 8. So you like look at that, and they're like, they don't tell you that in the brochure. They don't say like, by the way, the beach is disappearing. And also there's, like I said, there's the vacation Florida where you like come down here and you spend a ton of money, you go to Disney World, you go to the beach. But then there's the Florida where you live here where like you're gonna, unless you have a lot of money, your neighborhood's probably not going to be a very good one. There's a lot of like trash everywhere, like even up and down the street. So it definitely resonated with me because there's a lot of things about Florida that I forgot about.
Yeah, but you know what? Living there, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, I think that it really makes a person who they are.
Yeah, and that's another thing I want to touch on is you were born in Syria. Is that correct? You were born in Syria, then you moved to Canada, then to Florida, and then back to Canada. So you have a lot of influences just worldwide to pull from, like from your family's culture to the two very different cultures you grew up with between Florida and Canada. I guess three different cultures. So there's a lot to pull from. Does that influence your work? Obviously, Daytona Bleach, it influenced your work there.
Yeah, like I said, even about music, I think that's my like overall mantra is I think everything that ever happens to you like becomes you. Like in one way or another. It influences you. Definitely like growing up in that culture, you know, like being Arab at home was so different than being who I was outside of my house. You know, like it was just like a different version of me. And I think now I've learned after living so many years, like so many different versions of me, I'm glad to be in a place where I can just be myself and accept all of it and not be like ashamed of like the Middle Eastern part of me and hiding it or wanting to like feel like I want to be white. I want to be a white girl. That feeling that was also instilled on me, even by my parents, because like if you want to have success, you have to be white. You have to look white. All these different things. And so now I'm at a place where I'm like, you know what? Like I finally am dealing with that shit and trying to just be myself and accept it all.
And you're successful. And you didn't.
I hope so.
I mean, by most metrics, you're successful and you got to be you. And do your own thing too. Like you said, you had to start a band with people you like. You got to do things your way. And you found success, which I think is the dream in general.
I definitely feel like I'm living a dream and I'm really grateful for it.
And
but also, not that I don't like work my ass off. That's like the other half people don't talk about. Like, it's hell. But also, it's my dream, so.
I interviewed my brother, who's a game developer for the military, and he talks about just like, I love it, it's my passion, but the one thing people don't talk about is it is insanely like a lot of work. So I think that's something
it's
you
like
find
the only thing. It's like your whole life, and other people in your life have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, you're always doing that work thing.
I know. My dog complains all the time. He's just like, get off the computer, do something else.
I don't want to sound ungrateful. Like I'm so grateful and like, and also of course like a little lucky to be able to do what I love to do.
Well, I'm proud of you. I've watched the whole thing from a distance from Pittsburgh and then to Florida, but I watched it through the lens of Facebook and everything else. So I mean, like I said, I knew you for a while.
Yeah, and I'm proud of you. Like, I was reading your website, and I'm like, I love seeing you express yourself artistically. It makes me so fucking happy. I love it.
I appreciate that. I very much appreciate that.
I feel like I knew that side of you existed really well, but I didn't see you, like, put it out there publicly. And so it feels awesome to see it.
It takes a lot to do that. It for me, at least, I read a piece written by somebody I admire very much, and the next day, I'm like, I'm gonna build a website from scratch and just do this, and it worked. It's worked out. I've managed to meet some cool people and do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And I was thinking about this. I wonder if you remember this. So, like, I was trying to think of like how we used to talk. I swear I must have been like 12 or 13 years old, like when we would talk on the phone, and you worked. I remember what plaza it is, but I don't remember what restaurant. Like, you worked at some restaurant, and then you would get off work, and then we would call me, or I'd call you, and we'd have conversations maybe on your walk home or something. And to this day, I haven't forgotten it. Like, I loved talking to you.
I remember you worked at a place in the mall. I think was it the mall?
Oh yeah, I worked at. I guess I won't say it, but I worked at a couple kiosks.
I remember I used to buy the this is before, I guess it was eradicated for the most part, but I would buy those phone cards to call Canada, because I had to use my parents' phone, and my mom, I remember being like, why are you calling Canada? Like, my friend's in Canada. I had to go out and walk to the store here and buy $10 cards to call Canada. I guess it's different now. I don't think Discord's going to charge me anything.
No. Oh, that means so much to me to hear. Like, I guess maybe I knew at the time, but I forgot you would have had to gone and do that to call me, and like, thank you. That's
Yeah, I
It
mean,
feels really special. I know nobody knows what that means anymore. So
yeah. I mean, spending money on phone cards back then wasn't as big of a deal as it would be for me right now. So, financially
yeah.
at least,
But
I
you
could.
had to go out and get something to call me. Like that's a
Yeah,
lot of effort.
yeah,
That's effort.
for sure. Well, I appreciate it. It was. I mean, it's. I like my. I have a pretty strong memory just in general, which is good and bad. So I like. I'll think like because there was that entire summer of 2009 where you were down here for a while, and I'll think about that. And that was like my last like extent in Florida because right after that I had moved out of here, and I remember, um, you had brought me a Degrassi CD, which is at my mom's somewhere still.
Nice.
And I'll think about that because right after that too, what wound up happening is Aubrey Graham, better known as Drake, just exploded. So anytime I'd see him, I'd be like, "This isn't the Jimmy Brooks I know." Uh,
Oh.
yeah,
I know a
but
lot of people feel that way here.
yeah, I mean, I think, and a lot of people, I think everyone knows he was on Degrassi, and they'll be like, "He's the guy who got shot in Degrassi." I'm like, that is not all he was, okay? You don't know.
Yeah.
Did you know Jimmy Brooks played basketball? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you get emotionally connected to the characters. I get
I
it.
think there's another season coming too. I never stopped watching the show, by the way, and they're all on YouTube. Degrassi put them all on
Yeah.
YouTube. So
I've never watched it. I just knew that you were a huge fan.
yeah, it's. I feel like that's like a more common thing. Like I feel like it wouldn't be cool for people our age in Canada to watch, and it definitely wasn't cool for me to watch. Like, but I watched it anyway.
Tell you.
I still
Oh,
watch
we
Dawson's
all
Creek.
had our dirty little secrets of shows we watched. I feel you.
I mean, I just got done re-binging Dawson's Creek, and I watched way more anime, and that's why I try to move my head to hide these weeb books behind me, this manga,
Yeah.
because you have like these cool records. I have like, um, just a couple more
Come
questions
on.
here. Yeah, no, I mean, people know I like anime. They can take.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the least cool thing that I'm into, then awesome.
It's
Awesome.
not even uncool. It's cool.
It is
and
getting
it's,
cooler
it's,
now. People
Yeah.
are like accepting like it's not so weird to like. I don't have an anime profile pic or anything, so like I'm not there. But I did have an anime profile pic until I launched the website, and I'm like, all right, we gotta stop. So I just got a couple more questions. I know you're probably pretty busy.
No worries. I'm so happy to see you and talk to you. Like, I want you to
We
know
should
that I was
keep in
excited.
touch. We should keep in touch.
Yeah.
with it.
I just always know that we'll be friends, so it's not worrying to me.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, I think I could definitely do a better part on my end to keep in touch.
No, honestly, no worries. Like, I'm so the type of person where, like, we don't have to talk for years if it happens, and then we reconnect, like this, and I'm like, amazing, and then we go off and do our things, and I'm always thinking of you and loving you, and when it comes back together, it comes back together,
Yeah, that's just how life goes sometimes. There's a ton of people who I just haven't talked to in years. But that's the thing about Facebook is you can just like peek in and be like, "You good? All right, you're cool. All right, I'll check again next year." But we talked a little bit about your musical influence growing up, stuff you still listen to. Do you have like a set writing process now? I know it's like a very collaborative experience between the three of you, or anybody else who like comes in and helps out. Is there like a set process? And I know you guys may not have the same restraints as those who are on labels that are very stringent, saying like end of the month needs to be done. But I'm sure you guys still want to make sure you have stuff coming out regularly.
Yeah, I mean, I think what sets us apart, maybe, as a band and an indie band, is that we are really intense about, like, different deadlines, or like we have those restrictions on ourselves to make sure that we get stuff done and on time. And there's always plans, so making sure that it's going to make sense in the future plans that we want to make. Creatively, yeah, I'm sure, like you read, we're very, very much collaborative, and depends, it's different, like, and I love it. I would hate for something to be like a template or the same thing. I think the reason I'm a musician is because I love chaos. So going into being creative, I want there to be that energy so that I could be free to do anything, right? And give that energy out so that everyone is comfortable to just be themselves, and wherever it takes you, it takes you. So with that being said, sometimes like a song is very written. Sometimes it's like just a melody. Sometimes it's just chords. Sometimes we all come in together, we're jamming. Like, it can happen any way. And the real process is like, how can you take it from it being a idea and taking it to a song? Like, that's work. That's the work part that like is hard, and you struggle because it's fun to make a bunch of stuff, but then you have to like sit down and finish it, and that takes a little bit of discipline. And we all try to chip in and do our part.
And I'm sure that the passion bit can be a bit hard to agree on everything with, because it does seem like the three of you are very. I mean, that's the thing about passion, is it's hard to compromise on it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well, we've been together a long time, so I would say in our younger years, like, an emphasis on younger, like I was a younger person, we reacted differently. We didn't have the tools or the skills to know how to collaborate well. So yeah, it was very difficult. A lot of resentment and fighting and baggage and just toxic environments between us. But what I'm so grateful for is our band has stuck together through that, and so now it's made us so much stronger to have gone through that and learned our lessons and just like want to do this so badly together, and that the care is more like we care about each other more, and now it's easier. Like, we've definitely come a long way, and now we get along a lot better. We get it. We kind of get like, okay, this is what Sally brings to the table. This is what this person. So it's like we've learned really well how to collaborate with each other, just like you would living in a family, and like learn what your relationship is and how to navigate it. So these days we've been smoother than ever, for the first time almost, and I hope that it continues to like get better, and that we all work on ourselves, because a part of that is like knowing where am I in the wrong and how can I fix that, so next time I come to the situation that like it's a better work environment.
And I know COVID's kind of put a bit of a hold on a lot of stuff, but it seems like you guys have a decent trajectory. Like, you're doing well. So what
it's definitely like not stopped us. Like,
as like, you know, you guys, you've utilized technology and the social media, the internet in general, in a way that I think is really smart. Obviously, you guys, one of the most played indie bands, alternative bands on the radio during the thick of COVID, which that doesn't happen by itself. That doesn't happen on accident. So obviously you guys are doing the right thing. Now, after, I know, as you said, you missed live shows, but once things like hopefully slow down with COVID eventually, what's next? Like, what are you guys trying to do next? Is there like a tour you guys want to just like get out there and like make up for not being able to tour for the last COVID's been 2 years now?
Yeah. Well, everything's already planned, and it's up to COVID if it happens. So my next release, which starts the cycle for the new album, is February 4th. So that's a brand new song, and it's called Control. So I hope you check it out when it comes out. But this is already like today I'm sitting down and I'm making all my plans for the next year. And touring is already on the table. Like, we're supposed to be opening for Mother Mother, which is an awesome band, and it is a huge opportunity.
Too,
like I can't even belittle it or act cool about it. Like, it is a huge opportunity, and I feel so grateful that they're bringing us with them. But all I can do now is not get my hopes up, because we've gotten great tours during COVID and none of it happened, right? Because of cancellations. So I'm so grateful that we get the opportunity, but I just can't get my hopes up. Like, that's just how it is these days. But I'm excited. Doesn't mean I'm not like dying to do it. I just like don't want to hurt myself by like expecting it, you know?
That sucks. That's what sucks. It's just like, I wish people would just like, guys, just like for a month, get vaccinated, wear a mask, just like do it for a month, just like make the sacrifice. Because I look at like Justin Trudeau, and he's like at this point where he's just like, guys, like, stop it, please, because like everyone wants COVID to end, but like, I mean, it's a
personal
everywhere.
Responsibility.
Right.
It's very complicated. It's complicated. It's complicated because it's not, and it is. Like, there are definitely factors that are making it terrible for that to happen. Which I'm just not going to go down that road right now. but all I want is for people to be okay and not be sick, and for people to stop dying because of it. It's just like, it's not acceptable. Like, it's just, if we can stop it, it shouldn't be happening. Whether that's the government or us, we need to work together to make it stop happening.
We just need, just whatever it takes to make it stop. It's gone on, it's 2 years now. Let's just make, because there's a lot of things. Like, a lot of the stuff I write about is in the video games industry. A lot of people I talk to are game developers or game critics, and the entire fan base is just getting real frustrated because, all these people, not just in games but in music in general, they're all isolated. They're not able to do what they normally do. Everything's getting delayed. All these games, all these live events, everything's getting delayed, and it's definitely sucked. And it's every day I can count at this point, because it's right when I moved here with my bags. I'm like, I'm going to start anew. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to make all these friends. And then COVID's just like, oh, you didn't let me know you're trying to do all that, bro. Because I'm about to just shut this down.
Yeah. I feel you. I had the #2 song in Canada, and then it shut down. And I'm like, no. But also, like, so much, other than, like, I don't want to glorify any, like, the deaths are awful. But on a personal note, I do think that I needed time, and I never thought was ever going to get it, and I was drowning in my own fucked upness. And so I'm grateful that I had some time off, but now I'm just like, that's enough, I'm good. Like, let's go, it's a bit much now.
I mean, I can relate. There were things that I always wanted to learn how to get better at computer programming and stuff, and now I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, well, I did that. I just want to go outside. I want to, although I do enjoy wearing a mask, I do, but that's just like the germaphobe part.
I kind of do too.
I like it.
No, there's something about it that I'm also like, and now, like, even I don't know, as a woman, it's like, now you don't have to see me face, you don't have to tell me to smile, it's just like, it feels like this anonymity, and I love it in a way.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to wear a mask, I personally think, like, if someone has a cold or anything for the rest of eternity, wear a mask. I love that idea.
I agree. I haven't gotten sick once in the last 2.5 years. And to be honest with you, I had a chronic illness before that, so I was sick all the time. And the fact that was it, put on masks and then I'm never sick.
It's awesome.
I never even thought of it. So yeah, I'm totally gonna keep doing that, especially as a vocalist on tour. I think it's great. A great tool to be able to use anytime.
They do it in China, Japan. They've done it for 100 years now. They just do that. It's just a thing of respect. I don't want to get you sick. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I had COVID, but it's crazy. I wear a mask until I got COVID 2 days before my brother's wedding.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I felt better the day after his wedding. I'm just like, all right, COVID, that is enough. Stop it. But that's me thinking COVID just exists to make me miserable, which is the dumbest thing to think, because there are people who have lost a lot that I personally know during COVID, and I just I feel for them, and I hope it ends soon, because it sucks. And I know there are a few people who we knew who will be watching this. A lot of people are working right now or doing other stuff, but that's why I want to get the VOD and put it up there. And one of them's Ted. I told him about this. He was real excited for this.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so he's going to get to see this. And I'm going to have a written piece up as well. And
sweet.
I have a whole series of interviews.
I'm looking forward to it. I think this is awesome, and I can't wait to see what else you do.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what I do. I have no idea.
I'm watching you.
My website is I'm asking for other people. I have other people submitting their own work. No structure, no word counts, none of that crap. No cuss words is a big thing unless you're quoting somebody. On Reading form, you can speak cuss words. Just I'm just trying to get people together. And that's the other thing, is I'm interviewing people who have passions and they work in their passions. And everybody I've interviewed so far, I have other people who have just found something they like and they've chased it and it's worked out for them. Or they're in the process of it working out for them. So it's been really cool, and I really appreciate your time coming on and talking to me.
I will always have time for you, my friend. I
appreciate it. I'll always have time for you, too. I have a lot of time for just until things are fixed. All I have is time. But even after that, I'll have time for you, even when I'm a busy man.
Of course. This friendship has lasted a long time for a reason, so there's no reason for it to end.
All right. Well, I wish you all the luck in the world. And where else? So I mentioned monowhales.com. And you have
I
another
mean,
one?
just Google. I would say to people want to find us, just Google Monowhales, and there's nothing else. Like you'll find us, or find us on Spotify. Follow that helps us a lot. So if you're gonna do that, maybe follow us on Spotify, socials, whatever you want. If you don't, I love you anyways.
And Control comes out February 4th, you said?
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
so keep an eye out. Put it, if you don't put it in your calendar, I can almost guarantee you that you'll have a bad year. I don't know how. I don't know why.
Did you just curse everybody?
Yes. I
You don't
cursed
curse?
everybody.
Alright. I'm into it. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Be
so
cursed.
this is it's like what's that movie where she calls out the TV? I don't remember the name of it. I haven't watched
Freaky
the movie.
Friday? I don't know.
Yeah, Freaky Friday. It's gonna be like Freaky Friday, where Lizzie McGuire crawls out of a TV unless you follow her on Spotify.
You're talking about The Ring. The Ring.
The Ring.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope everyone watching has a great day, too.
Unless you don't follow on February 4th, then have a bad day. All right. All right, it's good talking to you, Sally. Thank you again.
You too.
All right, bye. Oop. You don't want that up. No, my search history. Turn this display off. Just turn the display off. What are you doing? All right, I'm gonna have to edit that one. I don't know why I did it. Anybody who's watching, I appreciate it. I'm gonna edit the video as well, put it up on YouTube. I'm gonna write a written piece on it. Let me see if I can do this here real quick. Get out of Discord. We'll just put this up. We'll do video capture device. Boom. I do things the hard way.